Mike Owens here. Always a pleasure to catch up with my next guest, Vicente Luque, who returns to action, UFC Atlantic City, facing Joaquin Buckley. Vicente, always a pleasure, my man. How are things for you today?
Hey, my pleasure. The pleasure is all mine. I'm very good, feeling very good with training camp, and obviously very excited for this big fight in my home state, the state I was born in. So it's gonna be exciting.
I think I checked the record professionally. I don't think you ever fought in Atlantic City. Is that right?
No, I haven't. I haven't fought there. I fought in Chile. That's where my father was born, in Santiago. I fought in Brasilia. That's where my mom was born and
Mm.
where I grew up from 6 years old until 2022. So most of my life, that's where I lived. And now I'm gonna get to fight, in New Jersey, the state I was born. I lived there until I was 6 years old. I have family still there. My dad lives there, and I have my grandfather, uncles, and aunt. So it's and cousins. So it's gonna be very, very special. I complete the three places that are really like my home cities, my hometowns, and it's good. It's special energy.
So we have Brazil, we have Chile, we have Florida where you live now, we have New Jersey where you were brought up as a young child. When I say the word home, which of those four comes to mind for you?
It's so hard. It's so hard to say. I feel like at this moment, home is Florida.
Mm.
It has been for the last year. I moved here in February of 2022. I mean 2023. So it's been a year last month, and I don't know. It just really I really adapted well. My family, we are enjoying the time here. Obviously, I've been training here since 2015. So that was easy. The team, I've always been a part of it. I know all the guys. I feel at home, but also like getting here and really getting like to spend time with Gilbert. We've always been friends, but now we get to see each other every day and also during the weekends and spend time together when I have a fight, when I don't have a fight. Also, Gregory has become a very, very good friend of mine. I cornered him on his last fight, and it's much more than just the fighting aspect of it. We all go to the same church. We all are really, sharing not only God's word, but also our experiences together as fighters as well. And all this, I think that really connects us. And it has been a great moment, a great moment of development, not only as a fighter, obviously. I mean, I know how much I'm getting better as a fighter, but as a person, just as a human being here, I think that we have to keep on developing until the last day of our lives, getting better. And that's what I feel right now is going on. So, yeah, I'm happy to call Florida in this moment my home. This is where I'm based out of now. And that doesn't change any of my feeling for Brazil. That's why I carry that flag. Chile as well. I don't carry the flag, but I do always talk about it because it's my heritage. And New Jersey is where I was born. I have family there. I mean, I started martial arts in New Jersey, right? My mom is a black belt in karate. That's where I started training karate at 3 years old. So I mean, all these places, they're so special to me. I cannot pick one, but I would say at this moment, Florida is my home, is where I feel very welcomed and I have everything I need.
I love it. I suppose when we talk about the date at Atlantic City at the end of this month, the first question on my mind is Sean Brady, which the key rumors coming out when you were linked with this fight was the Sean Brady fight originally. Was that fight actually officially signed, or was that just kind of strong rumors?
So that fight, I mean, it's hard. I don't know all the sides of the story,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
What I know is my side,
Yes.
and Ali talked to me about the fight. He was talking to the UFC. We all were very excited because I wanted to be in this card. And Sean Brady, obviously a big name. We were gonna be until where I understood. Like at first, that fight got offered. I did take it,
Mm.
and I did sign a contract. And then we they told me and told Ali, okay, you guys are gonna be the main event, and I'm saying, yeah, I'm down. I mean, I love it. For me, it makes a lot of sense. Home state, let's go, let's put on a show. So I did sign a contract. I did take the fight. I agreed with the main event, and that was all my side. I don't really know what happened on the other side, but I don't know. I mean, I don't. I've always, I've always been in all the fights. They always got announced, and there was no problem with it. So it's hard to really understand what went on, but obviously, Brady is hurt, right? He has an injury on his hand, so obviously, I mean, I don't want anybody to go in there and try to fight if they are not
Mm,
capable of it, right? So I think it's the right move on his side, and I wish him the best of recovery. Hopefully we can do this. We can make this fight happen down the line. But for me, it was just like I want to stay on this card. It's a big card. It's a big night of fights for me, and I'm ready. I didn't get to fight in December.
mm.
I've been like the fire for fight is here burning for a long time, so I want to step in there, and I still had a lot of time, so it wasn't gonna be like a short notice adjustment, so it made sense to just move on.
I did want to ask about that because in the last 3 or 4 months, you've gone from one style in preparing for Ian Garry to a completely different style preparing for Sean Brady, and now a completely different style again preparing for Joaquin Buckley. Give me your opinion on your upcoming opponent, Joaquin Buckley. What is your scouting report on his skills and his strengths?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think that all and sometimes we could say like adversity, changing
Mm,
opponents, but it has really paid off training because I've been training, I've been working, and literally like changing style to style. And overall, when I train now and I look at it, I'm like, I got better. I got better because I was training for so many different guys, and with a lot of motivation. Like if I really was gonna fight these guys, because I was ready for that. So it was like when I think of it, I didn't waste my time having a whole training camp for Ian Gary because it made me a better fighter. And same thing, like when I was training for Sean, and then it changed up. I still was becoming a better fighter, because of the opponent I was gonna face. And now even more, Joaquin he's a very I would say elusive fighter. He throws very different, like unorthodox shots, but at the same time, he's able to keep himself like in between the big shots and big explosive shots he does. He's very like good guard, good movement, good stance. I think that's what makes it even more tricky, to fight a guy like that because there you can kind of make a read. Okay, this guy has a pretty, up forward guard. He's not doing anything different. And then in a split second, he explodes because of, his physical ability. And I think that's what's really challenging of this opponent. I've been getting ready for this you know, kind of approach by him. When I look at it, I think that he's a guy. He's very strong. He's built, in a way where I know he has knockout power in his hands, in his legs, and I imagine that's what he's gonna try to do to me. Go
mm.
in there and try to get me out of there. And that's being a striker myself. I see how I could use that in my favor as well. Maybe put on some counter shots, or even, I mean, I've been through so many wars that if it becomes a war, well, it's another day,
Mm.
of me doing what I do. But at the same time, I think that I have the skills to really go out there and just work to build a dominant fight against him. And that's what I see that is my goal for this fight. He is a dangerous guy. I don't think many people like ranked and with let's say a lot of people could look at this fight and say, hey, you got everything to lose and nothing to gain. But I think that's where I have something to gain because most guys don't want to fight him. Like if we're ranked, we don't want to give him the opportunity, right? He's gonna move
Mm.
up because of me. But for me, it's like I get the chance to fight a dangerous guy that has a hype, that a lot of people back him up and watch him and believe in him. And I have the opportunity to show my skill against a guy like this that is dangerous,
Mm.
show why I have the spot I have on the rankings and why I've been, with such a run during my whole career. And that's just for me, it's like, yeah, I will move forward, beating this guy and be able to get a dominant win. It's not just okay, I just fight and I stay in the same spot. No, I do believe it moves me forward, getting a big win over a guy like Buckley.
Yeah, no, 100%. I did want to ask you about that, but I noticed when you promoted the fight being official on your Instagram, you said I'm ready to put on a war for the fans. I suppose when we look at these three matchups that we've mentioned, Gary, Brady, and now Buckley, Buckley's probably got the best chance of of bringing a war to you in terms of those three matchups. Is that the matchup? Take rankings aside, take the top 15 aside. Is this the fight that excites you most in terms of what could happen in the 15 minutes in the cage?
I mean, I think all of those fights excited me for different reasons.
Yes.
Like Ian Garry, I think had like the whole hype behind him. Also, like the fact that I've trained with him, I know how good he is. So it
Mm,
was, a challenge in the sense that okay, I'm gonna fight this young gun that I know is good and is gonna want to go step in there and prove that to the world. So that really motivated me. Sean Brady, I mean, is a guy that he has been looking great in there. He's very very dangerous, great grappler, a great submission skills and very good striking. He showed very high level fight IQ against Kevin Gastelum, so also was a very motivating fight. Now this one is the kind of fight that you know I know like I can never underestimate a guy like Buckley because it's just like I've been in his position before. I've been the guy that is outside of the rankings that knocks out a lot of people and that the guys don't want to fight,
mm,
and I wanted my opportunity. And I know when I got the opportunity to fight against a ranked opponent, I knew how hungry I was. I knew how hard I worked, how much I wanted that win. So I know this that Buckley's gonna be hungry, Buckley's gonna be ready, Buckley's gonna be there to take me out. And that lights a fire, on me, and I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let me work hard and be the best version of myself. Go in there, and hey, if you could be the best version of myself, you got your spot. But
mm.
you're gonna have to walk through fire. I'm gonna bring it. So that's why I just feel it has all the ingredients to become a war. If we step in there and do what both of us are willing to do and just put our hearts in there.
Talking about another man who's giving a guy below him in the rankings an opportunity, your good friend Gilbert Burns goes up against Jack Della on Saturday night, UFC 299. I know that you'll obviously be pulling for Torino to get the job done, but how do you see that fight playing out, and what do you think are the keys for Gilbert to get the W?
Yeah, I'm gonna be close for that fight. I'm gonna be cornering Gilbert, and I mean, I've been through his whole training camp. I've trained with him a lot for this fight and kind of give him some looks of Jack, being a striker myself. And obviously, I've watched a lot of Jack's fights just because we're in the same division. I thought eventually maybe I fight this guy or somebody that I know will fight him.
Mm.
And just trying to emulate. And once training with Gilbert, seeing his development during camp, he's ready. He's ready. And for me, it's kind of like I see a big win for Gilbert going in there the way he is. He is always aggressive, but very intelligent, knows when to pull the trigger, knows when to, really put up the energy. And that's what I feel. That's what I've been feeling in Gilbert every sparring session. A lot of control, a lot of dominance, and whenever he needs to do what he wants to do, he imposes his will and he's dominant. Strong guy, cardio to fight.
Mm.
As many rounds as he needs. So I see a big win for Gilbert, and I'm excited because I'm going to be there watching right there next to the cage, next to the octagon. It's going to be nice.
Do you get more nervous for your own fight or for cornering such a close friend like Gilbert?
Oh, I get more nervous for my friends for sure, but it would be worse if I weren't cornering. So when I'm cornering, it's similar to a fight. I feel the nerves and everything, but once we're in there, I kind of get locked in the fight, and I stay pretty calm, very objective in what I gotta do, how I can help, instructions, ice, water, whatever. I'm focused on that. Like I'm almost in a fight, I'm doing a job. I'm doing something. If I'm home watching TV or in the crowd just watching the fight, that's the worst. That's when I really get nervous
Mm,
because I feel like I can do nothing about it. So
mm.
it's just like, okay, let's see what's gonna happen. So that makes me more nervous. So I like to be on the corner.
100%. As I mentioned to you off camera, I caught up with Gilbert a couple of weeks ago. I asked him who he thought should be next for the welterweight title in your division. He came on my show and said he doesn't think Belal should be next for the title. I then saw him on Money Moicano. Shout out Renato Moicano's podcast today where he said, "No, I do actually think Belal should be next for the title." I'm wondering what you think. Do you think Belal has done enough to earn his opportunity to fight Leon for gold?
Yeah, I mean, when I look at it, and my point of it, like it will always be a sport. It will always be about the guy that has, worked his way to the top and deserved that shot. And for me, it is Belal. He has such a win streak. He's beaten very, very tough guys. Me being one of them, I
Mm,
include myself in that run he has. So I know the guy that he has beat. I know how tough it is to have a run like that in the welterweight division. So for me, it's a fight that makes sense. I think it is gonna be, an entertaining fight. I think the first fight that they had, Leon and him, was a good fight. It wasn't a bad fight at
mm,
all. It was unfortunate how it ended, but it was an interesting fight. So I think they could definitely, first of all, sportively, like it makes sense. And I think the UFC could sell it for sure. They could, really get it and work that fight. They have that whole history with the first fight and everything. But you never know. You never know what's going to happen. I think that when I try to, predict what's going on, I don't know if I see another fight. I think a fight that could happen is Shafkat and Kobe. And
mm,
if that fight does happen, like if a fight like that happens, I think Shafkat could jump. And like if he wins, he could jump up there because I think Shafkat is a guy that they are really looking towards. At the same time, Gilbert can always, pull something out, have a big win, maybe, have another fight
mm.
soon and then jump in that mix. So it's hard, I do think Belal deserves it, but I do understand that sometimes the UFC is not going to go that way. So we got to see what's going to happen with the division. I would give it to Belal. I cannot assure anybody that that's what the UFC is going to do.
A couple more questions from me, and as always, thank you for your time. I wanted to just turn the conversation back to yourself, and obviously your last fight where you were scheduled against Ian in December. Obviously, Ian brings a lot of controversy, a lot of eyeballs, a lot of headlines. I know when we spoke, a lot of the topic of conversation centered around Ian, what Ian does, and a lot of the interviews that you did for that fight. Has it been nice to kind of move away from that situation and have a guy who may in Joaquin Buckley or in Sean Brady when you match with Sean, who maybe won't bring those eyes, won't bring those controversies, because I do know that you're a man who likes to do his talking in the cage.
I mean, for sure, I think that, you know, it it didn't bother me, like it wasn't talks about me, but I definitely don't like people talking about other people,
Mm,
so
mm,
it was just something that I always felt like, I mean, Ian is another person as all of us, and he has his family, he loves them, and I know that because I've trained with this guy. He used to take his family to training and everything. I know the love he has for his family and everything that was going on. It was like I sometimes I would put myself on this spot, right? Like trying to imagine this is not good,
mm,
and like we're not in the position to blame anyone. Oh, he did it to himself. I do think like he speaks a lot. He talks a lot about people.
mm,
That's why he gives like the right for other people to talk at him. But at the end of the day, I think nobody should talk about nobody. Everybody should take care of their business, and fans should be entertained about what we actually do that
mm,
is fighting. And obviously, this would be my perfect world. We don't live in that world, but if I can work little by little to put that idea out there, and maybe some fans, agree, and we start building this up, that's what I'm going to try to do because for me has always been about that, about the sport, about a sport that for me is beautiful. I started martial arts as a little kid, and it taught me so much. It made me, a lot of the values I have, a lot of the good things that come from me is from martial arts. The discipline, the honor, the respect, and I feel like MMA, yeah, it's the ultimate form of fighting, but it's still a martial arts, so we should keep those principles because those principles are good, no
mm,
matter what people say, they're good. They're good. It's always good to respect other people. It's always good, to be an honorable person. So why not, why not just stick to that?
yeah. No, 100% agree. Last one from me, Vicente, as always. Thank you for your time. Give me a walkthrough of the perfect fight day on March 30th. What happens when you wake up in the morning in Atlantic City to when you go to sleep at night in a perfect world?
Yes. Probably wake up at around, I don't know, 9 or 10 a.m. Have a great night of sleep. Have a good breakfast after I wake up. Have my morning session training. That's just a go-to. That's something. That's my routine. I have that training session in the morning. It just wakes up my body from all the weight cut and weight recovery. And after that, relax a little bit. I, start getting my things ready. So I like to think a lot about the fight. It's not something I'm avoiding. So that day will be a lot of it. I'll be in my room in the hotel room, probably organizing all the things, all my luggage, to travel the next day back home. And I'm gonna be preparing whatever is the outfit. I'm gonna go to the fights at night. But during that moment, I'm thinking about the fight, different situations that can go on, the things that I got ready for, things that maybe I pops in my mind. Oh, if he does this, this is how I'm going to respond. And after that, when it's closer to fight time, I'll do to go out to the fights, right? I'll have in the room, I'll have like this visualization. I kind of go through the fight, close my eyes, go through the fight, wrapping my hands, warm me up for the fight, and then actually stepping in that octagon, seeing my opponent on the other side, and having a fight, a imaginary fight in the mind. But it has always helped me a lot with different situations that I could deal with, especially mentally. So sometimes you get caught, sometimes you slip, sometimes things happen, and by imagining that before, and sometimes the fights are long, and there are struggles. When I deal with that in an imaginary scenario, it gets me ready for the real thing. So I like to do that. After that, I'll get dressed. I'll meet, all my cornermen, jump in the bus, and then it's all fight focus. Get to the arena, hands wrapped, warm up, and go to war.
I love it. Vicente, it's always a place to catch up. It really is. I've always enjoyed these chats that we've had over the last number of years, and it's great to see you back in another fight. Enjoy the rest of the camp. Have a safe rest of camp, and best of luck for fight night.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it once again, and let's go. Let's have fun.